Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here because it means that you guys are new in my channel. Obviously, because it's a brand new channel. So the chances are that you don't really know me. So here's a little bit of an intro. I'm Parastou. I help early to mid-career non-native English speakers give clear and confident business presentations at work. I've coached so many different people to improve their presentations at work, whether that's the storyline, the storytelling, delivery, confidence, even fluency in the English language. And at a certain point in my journey, I realized that I'm talking about the same things over and over again in my one-on-one coachings, which I felt was a pity because I couldn't really go very deep in our conversation on the stuff that would actually move the needle. We would have to talk about all these essential, foundational topics that everybody should know. So that is why I started this channel, in order to get some of the basic stuff out so that people can use it wherever they need when it comes to creating business presentations that land with the audience. My goal was to make the foundational knowledge scalable in a way that everybody could use it in their own way. And now I'm going to take it even on the next level. So in this video, I'm going to share with you guys my journey into business presentations and communication, and share some of the learnings I had along the way that you might benefit from. And at the end, I will have a special announcement. But I do want to start back at the beginning because I think the context is super important. Well, I come from the Middle East, where there are certain cultural aspects present. For example, we have a lot of hierarchy between different levels of people in the social setting. Or if you're a woman, then at least in my culture, there's a lot of value being put onto good girls are quiet, or you don't really need to speak up or promote yourself or talk about yourself very much. Naturally, being an introverted person myself, well, that didn't really help me at all in that social setting. Especially where in my culture, there's a lot of emphasis being put on hard skills, not much on soft skills like leadership, communication, or presentations. So I learned all the rules. I bettered my craft, I did learn a lot of hard skills, I did this software, that software, I did everything I was supposed to do to survive and get ahead, and God, I did. But then for my master's degree, I immigrated to Western Europe, where the rules of the game, or my perception of the world, had to be completely altered. And that's where the first learning I want to share with you guys come in handy. And that is, what got you here won't get you there. This is a lesson that I take with myself until this moment as well, that whatever has gotten you up to this point will not get you up to that point, because maybe that point needs a different rule game, needs a different network, needs a different way of working of the world you have perceived in your head. So after immigration, I realized that the needs of this world are very much different than everything that I'm used to. That is why at that point, I submerged myself in all kinds of classes, books, courses, programs, mentors, this, that, just to make myself better when it comes to soft skills, communication, presentation, and leadership. It was an amazing journey full of learnings. I met so many great people in that time. And that is where the second learning I want to share with you guys come in handy. And that is, when it comes to growth, whether that's personal, whether that's professional, it comes down, the amount you grow, it comes down to how good of a learner are you. And that is dependent on so many different things. In my case, because I had a full ride for my master's degree, I had a full scholarship with the tuition and with the living expenses. So I thought that I had the lifetime opportunity here. I had to extract and exhaust whatever I can from it. So I was this learner with a deep need that I wanted to change, that I wanted to learn, and I wanted to make a transformation for myself. We've all seen this instance where two people read the same book, go to the same class, go into the same program, but they see different results. That is because one person is not ready or is not that invested in learning and changing themselves, and the other person is. And I was always the person who was ready to change, because if it wasn't for that scholarship, if it wasn't for that full ride, not in a million years would I have been able to study at that school in such country. I would not have afforded it in a million years. Continuing my journey, I took all of these learnings with me, and when I started in my first job, one thing that I realized is that a lot of people are waiting for the years to pass on for them to be called a senior, a mid-year, an executive, a manager, a leader. I realized that a lot of people are waiting for themselves to get to a certain point where somebody else calls them a leader, and then they start promoting themselves or start developing themselves when it comes to presentation, communication, and leadership. And at that point in time, I'd actually read this book called Act Like a Leader, Think Like a Leader. When I read this at that point, it changed a lot for me because I realized that most people wait until it's their turn to get something, for stuff to be given to them, waiting for the years to pass on for them to be qualified for the thing that they might already be qualified for a few years ago. And then they start developing themselves and calling themselves and getting ready for that position. But once I read that book, Act Like a Leader, Think Like a Leader, my whole perception and understanding of this topic changed completely because it flipped the game on its head. Previously, I thought that you have to wait for something to happen to you and then you start developing yourself. But then I realized that you first have to develop yourself in order for that thing to happen. And that is by far the most common thing I see right now as well. The people wait for the years to pass on. People wait for that title to give themselves the permission to start whatever it is that they want to start leading, to start presenting, to start communicating. And then I had one of maybe the most transformational project I had ever done early in my career, where I was doing a project and I was in deep conflict with my project manager. And back then in my head, I thought that if I will ever be a project manager, this is not how I would do it. That way, I would do it. Or I would never do this, or I will definitely do that. The narrative that I was creating in myself, in my head, was that once I get my chance, then I will do it differently. Once I get to lead, once I get to be managing something, I would do it differently. But now I'm an individual contributor. I am working on this person, on that person, so I will do whatever they say. And lucky for me, here's the second book that really changed the trajectory in my career, and that is called Lead When You Are Not in Charge. It's a little bit of a religious book, so I'm not religious. I kind of skipped those parts, and if you're not religious, you can also do that. But I took out of it what I needed. It was all about the fact that you don't really need a permission to start leading, and it changed the narrative in my head about leadership as well. So leadership is all about influence, and how do you influence? Is by presenting and by communicating it well. So the whole message of the book is that you should never wait for your turn to start influencing somebody, to start communicating and start presenting, but you should do it from wherever you are in order for that leadership to come for you. And that's exactly what I did. I changed the narrative in my head, and in that project, I started influencing from where I was by communicating better, by presenting better, and at the end, working on something that I wanted. And at that point in my career, in my journey, I realized that I should come out of this victim mindset that work should happen to me or life should happen to me. No, if I want to work on the stuff that I like, if I want to work on the stuff that I enjoy and I'm passionate about and therefore have a bit of a better feeling about my work and my career, then I have to make that happen for myself. I have to start influencing from wherever I am. And how do I do that? With giving clear and confident presentations. And that's exactly what I did. And from that point on, I made sure that by presenting clearly and effectively to the right people in a way that lands with my audience, I make sure that most of the time, 70 to 80% of the times, I work on the stuff that I'm passionate about because I have a say in it. Instead of letting stuff and work happening to me, I decided to make stuff happen for me. And that was the mindset shift that I made for myself. And through no goal of mine, so I didn't really plan for it, but that methodology, that kind of thinking, and that perception of the presentations I did and the communication I did, that caught on a little bit with the people that I worked at. So unofficially, I started coaching and working with so many people on my jobs. I started coaching and mentoring and advising people on this, and I was doing it very organically and naturally, just based out of the situations I saw, the challenges people had, and the questions they had, out of a true desire to help other people, because I was exactly where they were before. I was never somebody who could say that I'm naturally good at this. I had to work a ton. I was under a lot of pressure to make this happen for myself. And if somebody learns that on their own by going through classes, programs, doing this live on so many different levels, then they're at a point where they can coach other people and they can teach what they know. And I still remember the first time that the coachee of mine saw results. The transformation really happened for them. They went from very messy thinking, very crowded slides, not really having a call to action, not really having a key message, not really being very good in English as in their mother language, moving on to a place where they were super confident, they could create presentations left and right, and they would receive the feedback from others that something has changed for you. I felt something incredible. I felt like that I truly helped somebody, like other people had helped me. I really felt like that I'm trying to give this back to the community, just like the community that helped me grow. And that's what I've been doing up until a few months ago. But as I said earlier in the video, somewhere along this journey, I realized that I'm saying the same thing all over again. And most of these things are very foundational. So there could be a much better use of our time with the coachees and the mentees when it comes to improving their presentation skills at work. But because they don't know or they don't implement the foundational things first, we have to tackle it. And that's why I created this channel, just to get out some of the basic stuff out there and then use our time for better implementation of all the things that we've learned. And since 2 months ago, I'm taking this on a next level. 2 months ago, I had this realization for myself that I've been doing this expertise, or I've been doing this help for others the old way, like pre-social media. Right now, people don't even do things, and they're all social media, they talk about it, they brag about it, like this, that. But I've been doing something that has been transformational for the people that I've worked with. I'm good at it, I've helped other people, but I've been doing it completely the old way. I've been doing it in silence, side to many different things that I was doing, and not really broadcasting it anywhere. So I really wanted to take this to the next level, and I wanted to create a program that helps even more people go through the same transformation that I've seen my students go through. So 2 months ago, one of the first things I wanted to do when it comes to creating this program was interviewing 20 plus non-native English speakers working in tech who were either dealing with presentation problems or they just wanted to share their experience. I wanted to know what was their obstacles, or what were they dealing with, what was hard in their presentation, and maybe also in other people's presentation. I also wanted to know their motivation as well. So why is it that they want to work on this? What is the bigger thing behind? And I wanted to do their desire. So what does success look like, and what does good look like for them? And I wanted to put this data combined with my own experience of working with tens of people, improving their communication and business presentations at work. And now I am very excited to share that I have put everything together. My knowledge over the years, my experience working with people, and now interviewing and talking to the people who are doing this on a day-to-day basis to understand the common mistakes, the pitfalls, the challenges, everything. I've brought everything together into an 8-week program with daily exercises, weekly lessons, and bi-weekly coaching sessions. Everything being designed to give the efficient transformation and change that the students require. It's not about throwing at you everything I know, all the information out there, but actually the skill needs time and repetition and an actual action plan for it to be effective and for you to see some transformation and change. That's why it takes 8 weeks. So if you feel like that this is something for you, if you're an early to mid-career non-native English speaker working in tech, trying to improve your presentation skills so that you get the visibility and the recognition that you need, so that you work on the stuff that you like and you're passionate about, feel free to check out the program. If you feel like that this is you and it fits all of your goals, you can sign up directly. Otherwise, book a 15-minute completely free discovery call. The last thing I want is for people to get in the program who do not feel the urgency, who are not willing to put in the time, because I want you to see results. I want you to see transformation and change in this skill. So let's talk about if you are a fit or not. And to take all the risk out from this decision, there is a 2-week, 100% money back guarantee. No questions asked. So before you enter week 3, you have a free pass to get your money back and to say this is not for me. No questions asked. I really hope to see you guys there. I cannot wait to work with you. Can't wait to see you there. Till then.